Hello and welcome to Creature Club, a mostly weekly show where we talk about the monsters in Dungeons and Dragons. We have recently been going through the Dragons section. We are on the last of our chromatic dragons, and I am your host, Tim. Should get there first. And I am joined by my delightful co-hosts, Daniel.
Hello.
And Mikey.
Hello.
So it's all three of us again. We are back in the same room.
Yay.
We're in the same room. We shouldn't do this because of the pandemic. We're breaking all the rules to bring you the podcast.
Yeah,
I think
the podcast is more important.
That is, of course, a joke. We're all recording from different houses, and also, in one case, someone is in a different continent and across an ocean.
Yes, and the
So we're
podcast
really-
is not more important.
So we're really taking this social distancing we're taking it seriously, and you
I'm
should
taking
wash
it
your hands.
slightly more seriously than everyone else. by
You
being
actually are, in
4,000 miles
fairness.
away.
Tim's kind of showing us off, yeah.
Wash your hands, record your podcast in different houses. You
Yes.
know, just do that.
Look after yourself, social
I-
distance, all that jazz.
How are you guys finding the social distancing now? How's everything going with you lads?
You know,
It's all right. I'm in the house on the lockdown. Myself and a roommate, both of us can work remotely, luckily. So
that's good.
we're able to keep doing that. But it's weird being stuck in the house all the time.
Yeah.
It seems like it's a lot harder for people who have like young kids or something.
Yeah, I've seen a
so.
lot of posts that are like, "Oh, people who don't have kids don't know how good they've got it," and then every response is just like, "Yes, we do. That's why we didn't have
Don't
kids
have kids."
immediately." Yeah, we worried about stuff like this, and now it's come to fruition. But yeah, for me, it's been I don't know, kind of same old, because for the most of the last year and a half, I haven't been able to leave the house without like supervision, essentially. But now that I have my employment authorization and my permanent residence, coronavirus shuts the country down and I can't do anything.
Oops.
Well, at least it ain't.
Yeah.
You know, at least it's a force of nature now, I guess, instead of just
Yeah.
waiting for your.
So just bureaucracy,
residence to come
the
through.
evils
Exactly.
of bureaucracy.
Yeah.
Exactly. It's
Yeah.
not like a step in. It's not a step backwards. It's just a step to
Yeah.
the same place almost. But now I have a nice shiny new card.
Sorry, the way you face that, I literally imagine like a foot going up and then just going back down.
Just going back down to where it was, basically. Just a centimeter or two forwards.
Yeah.
I'm at home, just playing video games, doing a bit of writing, doing a bit of
You're
everything.
streaming.
Yeah.
You're doing a bit,
Streaming as well.
you picked up some streaming, which is lots of fun.
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
it's very good. It's good crack.
Great
I'm playing
crack.
through Ocarina of Time, and I will probably play through more Zelda games and more just games in general because I have a lot of games that I want to show people. So
It was great. We were watching it there last night, and I was watching it with the roommate, and she was like, "Will we finish watching that show about the Orthodox Jew who ran away from home?" And I was like, "Oh, well, we stick on Mikey first because he's doing a stream. We're watching you." And then she was like, "This is a lot more fun than the show about the very sad Orthodox Jew." And I was like, "It is, isn't it?"
well, that's good. That's a good endorsement. I want that
There
on
you
my.
go. It's better than Netflix's limited series Unorthodox, or at the very least, it is more fun. You can definitely put that on your poster.
For
more
sure.
fun.
Yeah.
Oh man,
Yeah.
cancel
it's
that
great
man.
crack. Love watching him. He's too much fun. He's having too much of a good time.
Yeah.
Arrested for finally having a good time.
Yes.
So today is the last of the chromatic dragons. It is
Indeed.
the white dragon.
Yes.
Yeah, and it's probably just going to be the same episode as the last ones, but I think we have a couple of different things about this one. So the white dragon, guys, what's this guy all about? What makes the
Well-
white dragon different?
With regards real world history, there isn't a huge amount specifically about the white dragons in most of mythology throughout the world. But there are two specific examples that I found, one of which actually ties in with the red dragon of our last podcast, so I'm going to be able to sneak in some of my research that I did for the red dragon. But that would be in Welsh symbolism, the white dragon represents the Anglo-Saxons, who were basically the French invaders who came over and took over most of the British Isles. And they say that the Welsh are the only like real English like Britons that are left, the actual Celts, and they are the red dragon. And so in Welsh symbolism, when there was a clash between the white dragon and the red dragon, it usually meant a clash between the Anglo-Saxons, the invaders, and the like new settlers, basically, and the kind of pure-blooded British people. And the first example of that was from the what's it called? The Mabinogion, which is a compilation of British prose stories. And the specific one that it was mentioned in is there's some fun. Just before I mention, how do you think that the name spelled Ludd would be pronounced?
Ludd, and it's a
Yes.
Welsh name, so probably be Fud
LL.
or something.
Not too far from it.
Yeah, something like LL is like, it's not an L sound anymore. It's something
No.
else.
It makes a kind of a HL sound. If it's two L's,
Okay.
goes like
Okay.
yeah, and so LLUDD is Llif,
Ah.
and LLEFELYS is Llfelys, which is slightly more understandable right away if you know that little HL trick with the double L. But yeah,
Aside, we went when we were in Wales. Myself and Daniel, we went to the town with the longest name, which I'm not even going to try and pronounce. But there's a great picture of Daniel next to the sign. He's just smiling at it, and it's a very good picture.
Doing a big point. Yeah.
If we can find it, we'll put it on the Twitter.
the one
Yeah,
that ends
actually,
in
we will.
go,
I
go,
think
go,
I've got it somewhere.
right?
That's the
Yeah,
one.
yeah. It's like, yeah, it's like
Don't
the
even.
church. It's like the Church of Mary that's near the stone that looks like that's red with blood or something like that. Like it's got a really.
boy.
It's like the name is a description of a place,
Nice.
which is why it's so long.
D&D idea: give yourself a very long town name. It'll be hilarious. But
For sure.
continue.
And then your
continue.
characters will immediately shorten it to like the first syllable.
Yeah.
But yeah, so the story of Llif and Llfelys is about 3 plagues of Britain, and the relevant one that I'm going to talk about now is the second plague, which was the king Llif, whose brother Llfelys had gone on to become the king of France, I think, through some kind of marriage arrangement. He experienced these 3 plagues, and so Llif he experiences these plagues, and the second of which is this great screeching, which causes miscarriages, animals to die, and lands to go barren. So
Grim.
pretty grim, yeah.
Yeah.
And so Llif goes to his brother Llfelys, who's this great wise man, and he says that, oh, that's just 2 dragons fighting underground. And he has to deal with it by making a ton of like mead, make like really, really strong alcohol, and go to the direct center of the kingdom, which turned out to be Oxford, and wait there. And so the 2 dragons, a white one and a red one, it turns out, appear, and they fight until they're tired. They give them the mead, and then they go to sleep. And then Llif covers them in cloth and buries them in a stone chest, and then the screeching ends, and that's the end of the second plague. So you had the white and the red dragon fighting, which was causing all kinds of crazy ridiculousness. And yeah, so and then it was solved by like this really D&D kind of like, oh, you have to do this weird
Solve my riddles 3, hero.
yeah. Oh, that should have been obvious.
I'm going to try and cover them up and bury them while they're asleep.
I
Can I do that?
cast banishment. Does that work?
I did just write up this encounter against 2 dragons, but you know what? That's fine. I'll just throw that away, and you guys can just bury it.
I'll
I
just
guess.
stick that up my butt, I guess. So.
I guess.
Can we
Just sit
get the
on that
dragon really drunk and then just cover it with cloth and bury it in a stone chest? Sure, fucking why not?
I do
It's
like
gonna
that. Though.
be
Yeah, right. It's kind of like the dungeon master was like
athletics check.
I want my characters
Got a
to seem
17.
smart.
Yeah, fine.
Yeah, go on.
But I mean, I just like that the idea of 2 dragons fighting and then the world shaking in some kind of way because of it.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. The giants screeching, these dragons screeching underground. And there's actually a second story from British history, from the History Britonum, in which King Vortigern is trying to build a castle. And
Classic King Vortigern.
What's
classic
like
story. And every
He's
time
always doing that.
Jeb end.
So he tries to build it, and every time he gets his walls built, they're destroyed during the night. And so he asks his advisors what to do. And the advisors
Stop
say...
being such a prick. And then he cries because he gets
Vortigern
bullied.
just being an ass, yeah.
Yeah.
But then his advisors tell him to go to find a boy with no natural father and sacrifice him. And so Vortigern's like, yeah, all right, you're my advisors. We'll go find him.
Sure.
But then they find him. And it turns out that he's the wisest wizard ever to have lived. Who is
fucking hell, like just down the road.
Right? Yeah. They're just like,
how
sure.
do you gauge that? Like, does he have a really high wisdom score, or like it's? I feel like that's just kind of
who knows
subjective.
Might just
who's
be,
the
he might just
wisest
be,
person?
yeah,
is.
he might just be lying. So anyway, sorry, Tim, please finish your story.
Continue, please.
So in some versions of it, it's Merlin as a young boy, and so he tells them that they don't have to kill him, and that it's actually two dragons fighting under the mountain that they're trying to build a castle on. And so they dig down into the earth, and then the red dragon and the white dragon fly out and fight, and the red dragon wins and kills the white dragon. And it's meant to be a symbol of the last of the British people who survived the Saxons, now living in Wales. So the white dragon, obviously, again, the Anglo-Saxons, and the red dragon, the British people, which is why the Welsh flag has the dragon in it. Last thing, then, in Chinese symbolism, there is I think there is a very small thing about one of the kings, or one of the emperors described 5 types of king. One of them was a white king, the Bailong, which was the king of spirits, or like a spirited, virtuous, and pure king. And then there was also a dragon god that represented the west of China, the essence of autumn, and was a patron of the Qinghai Lake. And that's all I got. Got a whole bunch of stuff from Britain and Wales, and then a little bit from China, because
there you go.
It's. I thought it would be a bit more broad with regards like white dragons, because like classically white is like this symbol of like purity or light or stuff like that. So I'd expect more from that because dragons are so broad. But yeah, the
or even specific... Norse, because like snow and things like that.
Exactly, like finding the snowy boys.
Well,
just doing like,
is there any ice dragons anywhere in like fiction or mythology or just anything really? Because
not specifically that I could find. I probably could have gone down that route if I had thought specifically, but I was trying to find specifically white dragons. So
yeah. That's fine. Yeah. Because like these kind of different colors and different breath weapons, dragons, they kind of mainly come from the D&D, I guess. They kind of came up with the idea of chromatic dragons and them having the different breath styles. Maybe not come up with the idea, but they kind of did that, I guess.
They kind of made them more consistent. Like the white dragon is always white. Yeah. Or the white dragon is always ice.
So in the book here, or in D&D, the white dragon is a white dragon, of course. It's kind of considered one of the smaller of the bigger dragons, I guess. It's it's kind of usually described as a smaller and I guess everyone says stupider, but they're still dragons and they're still very smart, but they're just the least intelligent of all the dragons if you put them all together, I guess, in a room. Played a game of Boggle. They would lose at the game of Boggle. But no, they are I think they hang out in Arctic kind of wastelands. They're like ice dragons, and they prefer the snow and ice as their domain. Anything special about ice dragons, Dan, in the history of D&D, or is it all just the kind of the same stuff there?
It's mostly similar to what we've come to expect from the Monster Manual. The the pseudo-Latin name given is Draco rigidus frigidus. Even here they get bullied. Although not as intelligent as most other dragons, they are as evil and greedy as any. It does actually, interestingly enough, give them an average low intelligence, which probably puts them below a lot of players, which I don't necessarily know if that's true in 5e. In 5e, I think they're supposed to be kind of, I think they have 10 intelligence at best, so they're not stupid. Other than that, a lot of what we see is what we see before. They do that thing. I don't know if I mentioned that before, that they have the chance of, and they have percentages. And sometimes the chance of things somehow add up to more than 100%. And this time it adds up to 85%. So there's just 15% of the time that isn't there. I don't know what they're doing. And It's out the shops, I guess. Yeah.
Yeah.
Just not there. Oh, there's a note at the door. We'll have to come back. I think that's everything. And then aside from them having a fun Latin name, which a lot of dragons get in the first edition of the game, they act much as they do. First and second editions have a lot in common. They have the cool second edition kind of body attacks that all the dragons get, which I still think would be a great addition to 5e. But there's no reason to specifically talk about them right here, right now, because we've got a lot to get through. And that's it. So they've basically been in every version of the game. They've always been sort of the less intelligent of the dragons. I'm not sure where that kind of characterization, why it was decided upon exactly.
Okay, cool. So now that's cool. Thank you very much, Daniel. We're going to go and just read what's in the book because we have a lot to get through here. So I'm going to read a paragraph and then you guys just hop in and we'll go around in a circle. So let's do this. White dragon, the smallest, least intelligent, and most animalistic of the chromatic dragons. White dragons dwell in frigid climes. Climes? Is that a word? That is a word. It just sounds. A lot of words.
It's a cool person way of saying climate because it's one syllable.
Yeah, they took out the thesaurus for this book, didn't they? In frigid climes, favoring Arctic areas or icy mountains. They are vicious, cruel reptiles driven by hunger and greed. A white dragon has feral eyes, a sleek profile, and a spined crest. Not chest. And a spined crest. The scales of a... Tell me more about the chest. The scales of a wormling white dragon glisten pure white. As the dragon ages, its sheen disappears and some of its scales begin to darken, so that by the time it is old, it is molted by patches of pale blue and light grey. This patterning helps the dragon blend into the realms of ice and stone in which it hunts, and to fade from view when it soars across the cloud-filled sky. Cloud-filled sky.
Yes.
I can't talk today.
They're so mean about its description, and then its physical description is just beautiful.
Yeah, as all these dragon descriptions are, they're just very cool. I quite like it. Very well described.
Very evocative. Yeah. We have lost Dan.
Yes, at this point in the show, Daniel is gone, and we have lost him, unfortunately, because for some reason, every time we try to record a Creature Club episode during the COVID pandemic, it seems like something bad always happens. The last episode was an absolute annoyance to edit, and it was just a lot of stuff going on. And we've tried to do different episodes on different days, and recording wouldn't work. It's very annoying.
It was always one or other of us who's having technical gremlins and like having a hard time with it, basically.
Yeah, and so weird because whenever we play something like, Lancer or D&D online, it's always fine. Or playing a video game, it's always fine. If we're streaming, it's always fine. Like, it's strange. But sorry, guys, Daniel had to leave, and he can't be. Yes. He's doing his research on how to fix it up for a next episode. But he says he's sorry, and we shall continue on with us
luck.
Yes. So, Tim, do you want to continue on with the next paragraph there?
I shall indeed. Primal and vengeful. White dragons lack the cunning and tactics of most other dragons. However, their bestial nature makes them the best hunters among all dragon kind, singularly focused on surviving and slaughtering their enemies. A white dragon consumes only food that has been frozen, devouring creatures killed by its breath weapon while they are still stiff and frigid. It encases other kills in ice or buries them in snow near its lair, and finding such a larder is a good indication that a white dragon dwells nearby. A white dragon also keeps the bodies of its greatest enemies as trophies, freezing corpses where it can look upon them and gloat. The remains of giants, remorazes, and other dragons are often positioned prominently within a white dragon's lair as warnings to intruders. Though only moderately intelligent, white dragons have extraordinary memories. They recall every slight and defeat, and have been known to conduct malicious vendettas against creatures that have offended them. This often includes silver dragons, which lair in the same territories as whites. White dragons can speak as all dragons can, but they rarely talk unless moved to do so. That's interesting.
So that's probably why people think they're stupid, because they just don't talk.
Yeah.
And they're always bullied.
Although, in amongst people, sometimes that the give many your ear but few your tongue from Hamlet, the advice to Polonius or whatever his name was, I can't even remember.
Polonius was a character in Hamlet, but
yes, I did. Yeah, I think so. But basically, in human society, that would make people, if you are in high society, I suppose, it makes people think you're very thoughtful and deep. But I suppose in this context, it makes you seem animalistic and dumb.
Yeah, because dragons are very prideful and arrogant most of the time, so they like to speak and show off. But this guy's kind of he's also a bit prideful, but he's kind of more of a thinker and
more of a things type guy. He lets his trophies speak for him.
Yeah, which I guess dragons like having trophies, but this one likes to have physical trophies in terms of the things it's killed. Like another red dragon, they like to, or I think it's a red dragon, something, as I'm pretty sure it was, but it likes to take magic artifacts from enemies that it's killed, basically, as trophies almost, or they like to win it. But the white dragon is just, no, I just want to have them as the trophy themselves, the person who I killed,
Because the red dragon could be oh yeah, I took this sword off this great hero, and then the white dragon is yeah, I took the hero as well as the weapon. So where's your proof that this came from what you're saying? Wow.
Yeah. Deep, man.
Yeah, sick burn.
Yeah, sick burn there. Lone masters. White dragons avoid all other dragons except whites of the opposite sex. Even then, when white dragons seek each other out as mates, they stay together only long enough to conceive offspring before fleeing into isolation again. While dragons can't abide rivals near their lairs, as a result... white dragons can't abide rivals near their lairs. As a result, a white dragon attacks other creatures without provocation. Provocation.
You got it first time.
There we go. Then just keep that one. Viewing such creatures as either too weak or too powerful to live. The only creatures that typically serve a white dragon are intelligent humanoids that demonstrate enough strength to assuage the dragon's wrath, and can put up with sustaining regular losses as a result of its hunger. This includes dragon-worshipping kobolds, which are commonly found in their lairs. Powerful creatures can sometimes gain a white dragon's obedience through a demonstration of physical or magical might. Frost giants challenge white dragons to prove their own strength and improve their status in their clans, and their cracked bones litter many a white dragon's lair. However, a white dragon defeated by a frost giant often becomes its servant, accepting the mastery of a superior creature in exchange for asserting its own dominance over the other creatures that serve or oppose the giant.
Oh boy. That is definitely a mouthful.
It is, yes, but basically what that's saying is that the white dragons, they like to stick to themselves, and if something is near them that's just as powerful as them, or it kind of poses a threat, they don't like that, and they try to go after it.
It also establishes a relationship between the frost giants and the white dragons as very much like the society of frost giants see white dragons as basically trophies.
Yeah,
and so
absolutely.
Maybe if you wanted to prove yourself to frost giants, find yourself a white dragon and beat it up.
Yeah, and beat it up. And yeah, it's almost like at the spoilers for Horde of the Dragon Queen. This is because it's kind of basically what we did when we played the end of that game. I don't know if it's in the actual book, but it's what happened at the end of our Horde of the Dragon Queen campaign. But there was a white dragon inside a frost. It could have been a frost giant. Maybe it was a giant. Yeah. But it makes sense if it was a frost giant now. But they owned this floating castle, which doesn't make sense for a frost giant now that I think about it. But they own this castle, and there's a white dragon, and the cult of the Dragon Queen are in this castle. But when you defeat the bad guys, defeat the dragon, defeat the cult that's in there, the giants, whatever they were, quite like you, and they help you out after that part. That's what happened in our Horde of the Dragon Queen game. I don't remember what kind of giants were, because to be honest with you, I don't like giants at all, so I don't give a shite.
I think they were cloud giants or something.
Yeah,
they were
it makes sense
pretty up there in the thing.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's cool. That's a nice little connection to kind of throw between them for like showing that some giant is like big in the giant world, lol.
Yeah.
Or that like you can prove yourself to giants. So there's a bit of a dynamic there that you can play with. Yeah. Next up, treasure under ice. White dragons love the cold sparkle of ice and favor treasure with similar qualities, particularly diamonds. However, in their remote Arctic climes, the treasure hoards of white dragons more often contain walrus than mammoth tusk ivory, whalebone sculptures, figureheads from ships, furs, and magic items seized from overly bold adventurers. Loose coins and gems are spread across a white dragon's lair, glittering like stars when the light strikes them. Larger treasures and chests are encased in layers of rime created by the white dragon's breath, and held safe beneath layers of transparent ice. The dragon's great strength allows it to easily access its wealth, while lesser creatures must spend hours chipping away or melting the ice to reach the dragon's main hoard. A white dragon's flawless memory means that it knows how it came to possess every coin, gem, and magic item in its hoard, and it associates each item with a specific victory. White dragons are notoriously difficult to bribe, since any offer of treasure are seen as an insult to their ability to simply slay the creature making the offer and seize the treasure on their own. Ooh, that's kind of fun.
It is, yeah.
Yeah, it kind of presents you with the possibility of like offering this dragon diamonds because they aren't very common in their areas, but also saying that like a white dragon would be very difficult to make an offer to because they're very prideful, as most dragons are.
Yeah,
which is interesting.
And maybe white dragons is a good first dragon fight to give to your players, because so you can stop that one player that's like, I tried to seduce or negotiate with the dragon, and then it's like, no, it's just hard to do that for this dragon, even though it would be hard to do that for any dragon, but definitely this dragon.
It's hard to seduce a white dragon as a white dragon, so you know.
So yeah, basically what we saw here, of course it's a dragon, so it likes treasure, it likes a big hoard as well, but I quite like the idea here that says that it likes to take, figureheads from ships, sculptures, trophies of its enemies, stuff like that's really cool, like physical, proof of its battle against these things,
Yeah, it's cool decoration, but also gives a little bit of history to the dragon. And so if there's another idea, if you wanted a mission to go find the figurehead of a ship, you could sneak around a white dragon's lair while it's out or something, or you could challenge the dragon, which would be trickier, but it's lots of cool stuff that you can do that with, because they'll save the people, they'll save the figureheads, as you say, and it's lots of opportunity to invade and escape rather than just go in and kill the thing.
Yeah. Excellent. Well, how about we just leave a bit more of that for later, Tim, and we just hop into, the nitty-gritty of the white dragon, the goodness, the stat block goodness.
Delicious stat block goodness.
Do you want to play that music there?
Go on, we will.
All right, just off the button there and just, press it. Fade it in. Here we go. All right. Fade it out. And we're back. Excellent.
Hello.
Cool. Hello, everybody. As we do with the rest of these episodes, we are going to talk about the ancient version of the dragon, and then we're going to skim through the adult, the young, and the wee babby wormling after that.
Yes.
So I shall start.
Do it.
Ancient white dragon, gargantuan dragon, chaotic evil. Armor class 20, natural armor. That's actually not too bad.
Not too bad.
It's pretty. It's good compared to the other ones. Yeah, it's kind of around the same thing. I was thinking they would have a really high armor class, but you can hit that maybe. Hit points 333, 18 d20s plus 144. I don't know why I wrote that out. I never read that out. Speed, 40 feet. And has a burrow speed of 40 feet and a fly speed of 80 feet and a swim speed of 40 feet. So a lot of speeds here. The burrow speed, I guess, because it can burrow through the ice. Yeah. Which would, and you can make ice caverns as well. That's very cool. Very cool imagery there. Strength, 26. Dex, 10. Constitution, 26. Intelligence, 10. Wisdom, 13. Charisma, 14. So its intelligence is 10, so that's kind of where people get the notion of it being stupid, I guess, even though 10 is pretty average, I guess. Yeah. And it's still a dragon, so...
they haven't represented its, like, wild and cunning very well. Like, its wisdom isn't high or anything. Like, I think every other dragon just has higher wisdom and intelligence than it.
Although it does have, like, as we're going to see right now, saving throws, dex plus 6, constitution plus 14, wisdom plus 7, charisma plus 8, and it has skills proficiencies in perception. So that's plus 13 to perception, which is a wisdom check, and stealth plus 6. So I don't think it really needs. I think that can kind of go with its cunning, I guess. But even though lots of dragons have that.
It has expertise in perception. It's basically doubled its bonus on it.
Yeah.
Which is pretty cool.
I love how it's stealthy, because as we read in the description, it can kind of hide itself because it's so white. It can hide itself flying through the snowy, like, blizzardy sky, or you can just picture, like, just like underneath some snow and then just like popping up, and then that back and then it could go, like you decide to lay on like a rock or something, and it's not a rock, it's actually a white dragon, just takes a bite at you.
It hides in the snow, in the clouds, amongst stalactites. There's like lots of opportunity for it to
amongst stalactites, amongst stalagmites, amongst columns. Yep. That geography, that junior Sir Jarvis is going nowhere.
Serves you well.
Yep. Okay. Damaged immunities, cold. Makes sense. Senses, blind sight, 60 feet. Dark vision, 120 feet. Passive perception, 23. And languages, common and draconic. And challenge rating of 20. And that's 24,500 experience points for you and your party mates if you defeat the white dragon, the ancient white dragon.
My monster manual gives you an extra 500 XP.
So you got 25,000 XP.
25,000 even, yeah.
Well, depending on which monster manual you're using, then you could get... You can get a bit extra XP there if you're using Tim's one. Bit cheeky XP there. A bit of...
How much was the red dragon for you guys in the last episode, since I wasn't here? Because it's substantial here.
It's 36,500 XP.
Whoa. I get 62,000, which is almost double. Yeah, 62,000 XP.
Challenge rating 24?
Yeah. That's crazy.
That makes no sense. How does that work? 24 and... Is it still 20 for the white dragon?
Yep.
There's a mistake on that one. But I don't know if it's my one, because I have
a bump print.
No, this is not... Actually, this isn't a bump print, because it's my player's handbook. That's the... It's the weird one.
Yeah.
With the 69
I guess
crosses.
Mine's the weird one. Yeah.
Maybe.
Well, there you go.
Do you want to continue on, Tim, with the feats?
Abilities. Ice Walk. The dragon can move across and climb icy surfaces without needing to make an ability check. Additionally, difficult terrain composed of ice or snow doesn't cost extra movement.
Very cool.
Makes a lot of sense.
Makes a lot of sense for a white dragon.
Yep. Legendary resistance, 3 a day, which is just like every other ancient white dragon. The dragon fails a saving throw, it can choose to succeed instead.
Classic dragon, and just classic boss monster ability there to give them.
Yep.
So very good stuff.
Oh, nice. I got a good roll, and it rolled bad. No, it won. Damn it.
Actions. Multi-attack. The dragon can use its frightful presence, and it then makes 3 attacks, 1 with its bite, 2 with its claws. Its bite attack is a melee weapon attack, 14 to hit, reach 15 feet, 1 target, and hits for 19 damage or 2d10 plus 8 piercing damage plus 9 or 2d8 cold damage.
Wow.
The next one, after that, is a claw attack, melee weapon attack, 14 to hit, reach 10 feet, 1 target, hit, 15 damage, or 2d6 plus 8 slashing damage. Tail, melee weapon attack, plus 14 to hit, reach 20 feet, 1 target, hit, 17, or 2d8 plus 8 bludgeoning damage. So
there it is.
Just a couple hits there, a few hits for you.
Yep.
Usually Dan reads out this next one, but he's not here today. But it's Frightful Presence. It's the exact same ability as the rest of the dragons, so I hope you guys have been listening. It's Frightful Presence. Each creature of the dragon's choice that is within 120 feet of the dragon and aware of it must succeed on a DC 16 Wisdom saving throw or become frightened for 1 minute. A creature can repeat the saving throw at the end of each of its turns, ending the effect on itself on its success. If a creature's saving throw is successful, or the effect ends for it, the creature is immune to the dragon's frightful presence for the next 24 hours. Guys, is this your first episode of Dragons? That's fine, but we talked about this one so many times, so let's just leave it.
So many times, yeah.
Cold
I think
breath.
That's the lowest wisdom, though.
It is, yes, that's true. It always only changes. It only changes for the wisdom save. That's it. That's the only thing. Cold breath. Here's the good stuff. Recharge 5 to 6. The dragon exhales an icy blast in a 90-foot cone. Each creature in that area must make a DC 22 constipation saving throw. Consultation saving throw. Each creature in that area must make a DC 22 Constitution saving throw, taking 72 or 16d8 cold damage on a failed save, or half as much on a successful one. Right. Good stuff. So yeah, as we can tell with the ice dragon, the white dragon, it does a cold, icy breath instead of like a red dragon doing a fire breath. So that's very cool, very awesome, very cool stuff there.
Yeah, and it makes sense that it's a cone again because it's just the breath as opposed to like lightning, which would be in a row in a line. Or is the acid breath is that a cone?
Acid breath's in a line, I'm pretty sure.
Yeah.
Tim, do you want to read out the legendary actions, which are the exact same as the legendary actions for every other dragon that we've
Welcome to the Dragon series. These are what legendary actions are. The dragon can take 3 legendary actions, choosing from the options below. Only 1 legendary action can be used at a time and only at the end of another creature's turn. The dragon regains spent legendary actions at the start of its turn, as per normal. Detect, the dragon makes a wisdom perception check. Tail attack, the dragon makes a tail attack. Wing attack, which costs 2 actions. The dragon beats its wings. Each creature within 15 feet of the dragon must succeed on a DC 22 dexterity saving throw or take 15, a 2d6 plus 8, bludgeoning damage, and be knocked prone. The dragon can then fly up to half its flying speed. So you can go 40 feet. Yowza.
And that's the ancient white dragon. So the adult dragon is pretty much the same, but of course its armor class is a bit less. It's 18 armor class. Its hit points is 200, but it has all the same abilities there. It's just a bit weaker. The young white dragon actually only has, according to this, that's right. The only thing it has, it's significantly weaker, of course, but it only has the ice walk. Doesn't have legendary resistance, and it doesn't have frightful presence, and it doesn't have legendary actions either. And the wormling only has like it's 16 armor class, 32 hit points, and it only has a bite attack and a cold breath that's weaker, of course, than the rest of them, and only speaks Draconic because they are babby, they're just born, and they only know one language fluently.
That's interesting. Like all the other dragons, as far as I know, they drop some of their saving throws as it goes a little bit lower, and some of their skills, as far as I remember. Well, maybe they don't. I'm looking back on it now, but I do remember saying that like 1 or 2 of them, maybe earlier on, started losing some of their saving throws.
Maybe so.
Maybe not. Ignore me. I'm just losing my mind. But yeah, they maintain all of their saving throws and skills, and they maintain their expertise in perception, which is kind of cool, which I like. A white dragon's lair. White dragons lair in icy caves and deep subterranean chambers far from the sun. They favor high mountain vales, accessible only by flying, caverns in cliff faces, and labyrinthine ice caves in glaciers. White dragons love vertical heights in their caverns, flying up to the ceiling to latch on like bats or slither down icy crevices. A legendary white dragon's innate magic deepens the cold in the area around its lair. Mountain caverns are fast frozen by the white dragon's presence. A white dragon can often detect intruders by the way the keening wind in its lair changes tone. Ooh, that's nice. The keening is from, we got that with the Banshee a long time ago. I think that's the first other reference to it.
Yeah.
A white dragon rests on high ice shelves and cliffs in its lair. The floor around it is a treacherous morass of broken ice and stone, hidden pits. Hidden pits and slippery slopes. As foes struggle to move towards it, the dragon flies from perch to perch and destroys them with freezing breath. Yowza. That's quite a thing.
That is quite a thing.
Yeah, I like that. It gives you lots to play with regards like area, like an interesting battleground, essentially.
Yeah, which I hope that all dragons should do, and they all have. Like, they want to have a cool lair to fight in. And of course, they get lair actions with that. Oh yeah, nice one, Tim. On initiative, this is how lair actions work. Just in case you guys weren't listening, the last 5 times we were talking about it. On initiative count 20, losing initiative dies, the dragon takes a lair action to cause one of the following effects. The dragon can't use the same effect 2 rounds in a row. So the first one, Tim, is...
Freezing fog fills a 20-foot radius sphere centered on a point the dragon can see within 120 feet of it. The fog spreads around corners, and this area is heavily obscured. We did it. We got there.
Yep.
Each creature in the fog, when it appears, must make a DC 10 Constitution saving throw, taking 10, a 3d6, cold damage on a failed save, or half as much damage on a successful one. A creature that ends its turn in the fog takes 10, a 3d6, cold damage. A wind at least 20 miles per hour disperses the fog. Excuse me. The fog otherwise lasts until the dragon uses its lair action again, or until the dragon dies. Now, that wind has to be 20 miles per hour. 19 and a half won't cut it.
Yeah, I think they're probably thinking about, like, if you have, like, is there, like, a wind spell? Or, like, a...
There's like, gust or something, isn't there?
Yeah, maybe could that do it? Maybe could gust stop it? Or maybe gust can't do it, and it's like, can I use gust to get rid of it? Like, no, it has to be 20 miles per hour.
I'm not sure. I don't think any of the spells specify how fast your breeze is coming from your hands.
Yeah.
Like, I don't think they go into that much about it. Spells.
Magic spells.
Magical spells.
Great, I'll do the next one. Jagged ice shards fall from the ceiling, striking up to the 3 creatures underneath that the dragon can see within 120 feet of it. The dragon makes 1 ranged attack roll, +7 to hit, against each target. On a hit, the target takes 10 or 3d6 piercing damage. So, ice shards come from the ceiling and hit your party. Simple as that. Just like a
knocks
area
against the wall kind of thing.
Yeah, absolutely.
Oh, there isn't a gust spell. Is it a cantrip? Oh, there's gust of wind.
That's completely different.
Absolutely. Why on earth would you think it was something along the same lines?
Yeah.
It doesn't.
What does it say, Tim?
I don't think it says how fast the breeze is. So you have to argue with your DM as to regards how fast the gust of wind is.
Well, I don't know when you would ever use gust of wind ever, and why anyone would pick it. So just let him have it. Just let him have it at this point.
Yeah,
let them blow it away, because like
clear the freezing fog.
Yeah, because I'm pretty sure they won't even think about that. They're just like, I'm gonna throw a spell at it, fireball again, and then like let them.
Kaboom.
Yeah, just
let them
award
interact
them for
with lair actions in the area.
Yeah, award them for thinking outside the box. Thinking outside the fireball, I guess, is how I would put it.
Yeah.
Last one, Tim.
Last one. The dragon creates an opaque wall of ice on a solid surface it can see within 120 feet of it. The wall can be up to 30 feet long, 30 feet high, and 1 foot thick. When the wall appears, each creature within its area is pushed 5 feet out of the wall space, appearing on whichever side the wall it wants. Each 10-foot section of the wall has AC 5, 30 hit points, vulnerability to fire damage, and immunity to acid, cold, necrotic, poison, and psychic damage. The wall disappears when the dragon uses this lair action again, or when the dragon dies. Okay. 30 feet high, so it's not as long, but it is definitely taller than any other of the walls that I think we've seen so far.
Yeah.
Yeah. AC 30. It's got a lot of 30s going on. Lots of multiples of 30. It's 120 feet.
Easy number to write down, I guess. It's easy one to like subtract from, I guess, maybe. I'm terrible at math, so
speed 30.
Yeah.
It's your classic, so you can get from one end to the other if you need to. That's cool. So it can also build on the layer that you're already messing around in. Which is
maybe
cool.
make like
I do like that.
Make like a labyrinth or something already. And have like a weird maze arena.
Yeah, maybe have like
concept.
Have like a specialist dragon that is like a labyrinth dragon. Ice
specialist dragon.
Yeah.
Send in the specialist.
the ice wall specialist dragon.
Yeah, that's cool. I like that. That's fun. Let's keep it going. These are good ideas, but let's keep this party going, and we'll talk about
it rolling
when we're done. We have regional effects. The region containing a legendary white dragon's lair is warped by the dragon's magic, which creates one or more of the following effects.
Chilly fog lightly obscures the land within 6 miles of the dragon's lair.
Freezing. Precipitation falls within 6 miles of the dragon's lair, sometimes forming blizzard conditions when the dragon is at rest.
Icy walls block off areas in the dragon's lair. Each wall is 6 inches thick and 10-foot section has AC 5, 15 hit points, vulnerability to fire damage, and immunity to acid, cold, necrotic, poison, and psychic damage. Oh no, I can't use my psychic damage on this wall.
Quick, there's a wall. Vicious mockery.
Dumb wall. You're not even as thick as the one he can make in a second.
It's immune.
If the dragon wishes to move through the wall, it can do so without slowing down. Ooh. A portion of the wall the dragon moves through is destroyed, however. Oh, that's dumb. I thought it was going to be really cool where you can just like walk through ice.
If the dragon dies, the fog and precipitation fade within 1 day. The ice walls melt over the course of 1d10 days. So those first two, they're just a given. I think you would get that with being near a white dragon. But that third one is just adding to the specialist maze dragon idea that we have going on here, Tim.
And if you want to interact with the maze, you can totally do so. But if you want to just blast your way through it, that is also a possibility.
But
you'll ruin the fun the dragon is having with you, with the ice maze. But yeah, that's funny. I like that.
Let's not dilly-dally anymore then. Let's continue on to the third part of the podcast.
Taters?
No, meat and potatoes.
Oh no, it's dessert time. Oh shit.
You already did meat.
It's been
meat
so
and
long.
Potatoes.
Boil them, mash them, stick them in a stew.
Boil them, mash them, boil them, mash them.
To dessert town.
We are here.
Welcome
to Dessert Town. I have a toffee.
Just one toffee.
Yes.
I was given a toffee on a plate.
I have one toffee. That is my dessert.
I want no more, no less.
One toffee.
So,
sorry.
I think this guy actually. So with regards the like how we typically do the white room with the dragons, I think this guy is probably the most consistently useful by himself.
Jeez, like we haven't done the Matrix room in ages.
Right? We haven't done it for any of the dragons, I don't think.
Yeah.
But I think that he has enough abilities that he would be able to put up like a consistently cooler fight, than most of the other dragons. Thank you. In the Matrix room. One, because the Matrix room is all white and it fits his theming perfectly.
Yeah, you won't be able to see him. Yeah.
But he can also like build a more consistent, like more difficult to penetrate wall, because I think most of the other walls were pretty low HP in comparison to the 30, because that 30 damage is like a chunk of damage.
Well, we're breaking some of the rules of the Matrix room here, Tim, because the Matrix room isn't his lair, so he doesn't get the lair actions in there.
Yeah, but he can still build the walls, can't he? Oh no, you're
that's
right.
a lair action. But if we're going with Matrix Room Mark II, where it counts as a lair, we just go into the commands there and just say room equals lair.
White dragon lair.
White dragon lair.
Yeah.
And then there we go. Yes. Then we got a couple of Like if that is it, then we have he has a few bits with the lair actions. Obviously, other than that, it's just a dragon. It's just an ancient dragon. It's nothing too different there. But the lair actions seem to kind of make it its own thing there, like the rest of the dragons. But really, those walls are very interesting because you can make a hard to get around arena, and maybe a very claustrophobic arena that's trying to keep you in, and it can go through these walls itself, but you can't. If you want to go on a bit more of a magical side of it, where maybe it can literally just phase through the walls because it's its lair.
That's what I would say.
Yeah.
Like, I remember we were doing the Ice Devil, I think it was. Yeah. And we came up with that cool idea for them where they were able to phase through all the walls, and that was great fun. I loved coming up with the kind of play that you could do with that. So using some of our ideas, go back and check out our Ice Devil episode.
I don't remember that episode. Was I even on that one?
I think you were. I don't remember, honestly. It's been so long ago. All I remember is dragons.
I sometimes I'm sit down, I'm like, wow, we did an episode on Azers, and I do not remember Azers.
Oh, that was the one where I was racist against bronze dwarves.
Well, maybe actually, I really don't remember it, but
yeah. But yeah, that's one thing that I think that they definitely have to them. But I think we can escape the Matrix room and talk about how we would use them. Do you have any specific ideas?
Well, as we're just going to say right now, we do plan to do a conclusion episode for dragons and how we would use dragons in general. But right now, we're going to just give a couple of quick ideas for white dragons in specific and how we'd use them in a campaign or game.
One or two things as we kind of walked through the descriptions of them there kind of popped out. Like the interactions between them and the frost giants, I think is a really cool way of integrating like multiple different monsters from your monster manual. Yeah. So like you go into Dungeons and Dragons thinking there's dungeons and there's dragons. So you read up on the dragons, and then with dragons you read the white dragon, and it has this relationship with the frost giants, and so you go and do something with the frost giants, and then you have this like now not one-dimensional adventure where you go into a dungeon and fight a white dragon. You have the idea so that you can bring frost giants into it, because frost giants will like the very similar areas to the white dragons, and you'll have the interaction between the frost giant society and the white dragons. Maybe they tend to be mutually exclusive, or if you wanted to escape the official lore, you could say that maybe the frost dragons are subservient to the white dragons and their almighty power, and maybe I would say maybe the frost giants are subservient, but they're waiting for some hero giant, which could be either a Goliath or just somebody in the party who's kind of bigger than most other people, because I think most parties will make a tall character, classically, and have
maybe they're like they just think it's going to be a giant, but it just can be any kind of, it can just be anything really, as long as the prophecy might be like a little bit unreliable.
Interpretive.
Yeah.
It could be like somebody has a big character, like somebody plays the bard,
like a larger than life character. Like obviously that's obviously
all D&D.
He's talking about a giant in that one.
He's a giant there. It's me. Yeah.
He just has a really loud presence. Like he's like, "Hey guys, how we all doing today?" He's really big.
He's a presenter. God, that man's character is enormous.
Yeah.
I can see. I know he's in a room as soon as I walk into it.
Hi,
such presence.
John Scabbard. I'm an adventurer man. I'm here to save you, dwarves. Are you dwarves? No, we're giants. Are you dwarves? I don't know.
I can't tell from up here on my high horse.
John Scabbard's a good name for a D&D
John
character.
Scabbard. That is cool. Yeah.
Yeah.
John Scabbard. Write that one down.
Yeah. There we go.
Yeah. You did it. Is that how you write things down nowadays?
Yeah. To smack it. That's cool. Yeah. I was just thinking there. But it's not really much of a adventure idea, but I just like the idea of a just Arctic based adventure where you are in like this really cold and blizzardy place where it's really like there's a lot of emphasis on survival, I guess, and you're just going through these blizzardy places. Maybe it's not an adventure, maybe it's just like a point in your adventure where you have to go to this blizzardy place. Because I just like the image of you just hear some like large like quaking footsteps coming towards you, and then just before, like when it's too late, a white dragon's just running towards you, not even flying, running towards you, like doof, 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 and you're like, oh shit, and then you have to fight it in the cold. And with that, you can do
it can probably see through the snow or whatever if you give it its like. Does it have blind sight?
It does. I'm pretty sure it does have blind sight. Yes, and it can just see through the ice. And
like, have you? One of the coolest things about the ice stuff is like interacting physically with ice makes such cool sounds. Like, I think a lot of like laser sounds that you'll hear from like video games and from sci-fi stuff is people just fucking around on lakes with ice. Because like if you throw a rock out onto an ice lake, it goes, and then like if you're standing on ice, you hear the cracks going through it. I think that the Arctic adventure will be a really evocative way to evoke the like auditory aspects of your own DMing. I think is a fun thing to do.
Go into, just find a frozen lake somewhere and just like get a microphone and do some Foley work with some ice. So like, now we're gonna do the dragon, and then smash on the ice, and then you're like
because I think you'll hear through the ice. Like if you're hunkered down in a tent and you just suddenly there's this crack in the ice underneath your tent that you see. And then you're like, what the hell was that? And then it cracks again and again, and you'll see the cracks before you even hear the dragon coming and its huge footsteps through this blizzard that you're already going to be like bothered by. And I think so cool.
Yeah, I was going to say, and imagine like walking over a frozen lake and it's just swimming in the water underneath the ice. And it just smashes through. Like it's not amphibious, but it can't breathe and stuff, but it's a dragon, so it can probably hold its breath for like longer than it ever needs to, you know, like, so it's fine. But like that's a cool image of just like, and just smashes through.
Totally.
And it's a lot of cool imagery. I just like, that's kind of I can't really think of much reasons mechanically to use this guy over any of the other dragons, but like the image of fighting in a snowy wasteland and like all these ideas is just really cool, and the white dragon just fits those images great, because there's not a whole lot of snow ice adventures. I think there's always like in fields of green, mountains, but go a bit further into the North Pole, and then that's where I want an adventure at some point. So
and in that regard, like building the ice world or the ice biome in your world, you'd have like ice druids and like stuff like that, because in my mind druids are always the like covered in leaves and like all greens and reds and the kind of autumn and spring colors combined basically. And then having like ice druids, that's super cool, because like the tundras and stuff.
I was gonna say Circle of the Arctic or Circle of the Snow. Is there one of those in the player's handbook?
I'm not sure. I don't think in the handbook.
Oh no, it's like Way of the Land or Circle of the Land, and you pick a certain kind of area you're from, and you can have Arctic or snow.
Sweet.
Maybe. I could be wrong. Yeah. Well, no, ice druids would be perfect for a place like that. Just like a nomadic tribe of this like icemen.
Yeah, and they're covered in like pine needles or something, because pines are like one of the hardiest trees, and they can live in that kind of thing because they're evergreen.
Even if it doesn't have to be trees, it can just be a guy in like a bear hide or something, or like a polar bear hide, and just like, you know, it doesn't have to be the classic interpretation of a druid that we see in D&D, just like just wild men who just want to live and like take energy from the snow, you know. But mechanically wise, in the game of D&D, they would be druids. So,
super cool, love it.
So yeah, and just feel that. But like, white dragons. Maybe another idea. Me and Dan talked about in the Red Dragons episode that there was that the Red Dragon, he, as we talked about earlier on this episode as well, that it wants to take magical artifacts, that it wins for, like, one of the ideas that it takes magical artifacts that it defeats that it takes from its fallen enemies, basically, from powerful enemies that it seeks out.
Right.
And you can do the exact same thing with a white dragon here, where maybe it's like hunting these powerful creatures and powerful like people and creatures, and just trying to freeze them and take them for its like museum of death or something, that it keeps in a mountain somewhere in the North Pole,
Yeah. It's funny how it keeps it for itself. Like, it uses it to ward off people, but it keeps the like trophies for itself. It's not showing off. It's like warning people with it, but it's super proud of all of its achievements, but it doesn't want to show them off. It's such a funny little way to think about it, because I think most prideful things would put their accolades on display, whereas this guy is like, nah, it's all mine. My stuff. You're not even allowed to look at it. You want to look at it? Because you're a freezy boy. You become a popsicle.
Yeah, you're a popsicle now. I'm going to make you a new thing. You're my thing. And maybe also you can just like, you're going through an icy cavern and you just see of like a whole army of people just in the like ice cavern, just kind of like in the ice and just dead. And you're like, hold on, put a torch up to that, and you just see like 100 like men just frozen like, in the ice, and you're like, oh god, just showing
Spooky.
like it defeated that, like maybe like a force, an army went to try and fight it, and it just
challenge it.
Just froze them all, because they're just jabronis. They're just like, your characters are like power level 100 and they're power level 1,
Yeah, especially if you're challenging an ancient one that's challenge rating 20, which is like god tier, basically.
Just
you're
jabronis
saving the world at that point.
That's cool. Yeah, I don't know. I there's a lot of fun scenarios I'd like to use it in, but I just can't. The only mechanical thing I could think of doing it a bit differently would be that strange ice maze idea that we have going on there. Which, should we elaborate on that? Maybe do you have any ideas for the ice maze idea?
Well, I think in like populating it with maybe some like ice sprites that are caused by the magic of the dragon, because in 5th edition they don't really give them a huge amount of like active magic. So maybe you can just have these ice sprites, or like basically snowy will-o'-the-wisps that inhabit it, and either like warn the white dragon that you're coming, or transform into something else. Like, they'll come together and they'll become like a frost monster or something,
Yeah, a icy minotaur.
Ooh, nice. An icy minotaur in the ice.
Maybe he keeps some of the like maybe the ones that he doesn't actually like as much, but some of the trophies in this maze to ward you off as you're going around. And maybe he just like flies over it or flies through it and freezes people who are in there and just leaves them there. And if they like, if you're powerful enough, then he brings you back to its lair to keeps you for himself to gaze upon and remember.
Yeah, because it did say that he keeps some people around who have like proven themselves useful to him, basically. Yeah. So maybe if you can get through his maze, like maybe parts of the maze are like frozen figures that like he made the maze, and then some people found like a shortcut through it, going through like a specific set of walls or something, and that part of the wall is like sealed off completely by frozen bodies of the people who dared take a shortcut.
Yeah. How dare you? And put some treasure in there as well. And just by going with like, he likes figureheads of ships, I like the idea of just ships in general. Like, he just keeps...
He takes the whole ship?
He keeps a particularly nice looking ship,
That's awesome.
And he just puts it in like this mountain somewhere. Maybe he uses magic to teleport it there or something, or he just drags it with him and flies with it.
I mean, they're gargantuan, so he just grabs them.
You could just grab a ship. That's terrifying. That's just a dragon just picking up a ship. And then like, oh god.
You're just sailing on the sea, sailing on the 7 seas, and then suddenly you're flying through the air in the claws of a giant white dragon.
We have defeated the Kraken. Scary. We are saved, men. Oh god. And then just this gargantuan thing just grabs you and then flies away.
Yeah,
just like you're like a little rat, and then an owl just picks you up.
Excellent stuff.
Yeah.
Shall we call it there?
Let's call it there. Yeah. As we said, we're going to go into a bit more detail how we would use dragons in general for our campaigns in our conclusion dragon episode, which will probably be for all the dragons, I think. So we're going to leave it at that. So thanks for listening, guys. That's the last of the chromatic dragons. That's the white dragon. Tim, do you have any final words about chromatic dragons? Anything, tips and tricks, anything you like about the chromatic dragons in general?
Yeah, I like that they're a consistent, like, bad guy that you can go up against. Like, playing D&D, maybe your first time, Dungeons and Dragons are, like, two bad things that you know you're going to encounter that are going to be, like, a fun thing. And so, classically, you wouldn't maybe immediately think of like a golden dragon or like a silver dragon. So having the dragons that you would think of immediately, the red dragon classically as the bad guy, makes a lot of sense. I like that they are consistently themed that way, so that you know you're up against something bad.
It kind of gives a fun Pokemon element to it, where you get to collect them all and see like, oh, well, I fought a red dragon and a blue dragon. Because in our games with Brafu, the Holy Man friend of the podcast, we did a dragon campaign of Horde of the Dragon Queen and Rise of Tiamat. So we fought a lot of dragons in that game. But there was a lot of dragons, of course, but we didn't fight every kind of dragon. So it was like, we fought 2 blue dragons and 2 red dragons and a black dragon, or we encountered a black dragon. You know, it's kind of like a fun Pokemon element of telling your friends which dragons you fought in your games. So I like that.
I fought a green dragon. Well, I fought a red dragon.
What's a snozzberry?
Yeah. So basically having them be a consistent like source of evil, because everybody wants to have like an evocative or like a powerful sense of evil that they feel like they have to overcome, and for dragons to be that kind of tickles me the right way, because I love dragons and I love that they are so significant in this game of Dungeons and Dragons.
Yeah,
makes me feel all good.
To quote Tim, I love Durgans.
That's true. I say
great.
That all the time. Durgans, capital DRNGS.
Durgans.
Durgans.
Yeah. If you need either a big bad or a fun encounter for the appropriate level party, you can't go wrong with a chromatic dragon. They are iconic and classic. Might be a bit straightforward a lot of the time, but if they haven't fought a dragon yet, change that today and put a dragon in your game.
Right now. Go put a dragon in it.
For just €2 a month, you could put a dragon in your game. 100 dragons are living without a campaign to be the bad guy of, and you can change that today. Sign up today to
Dragon's Trust.
Dragon's Trust. And we can give a dragon a home.
In your campaign. Thank you. In the arms of the angel.
The little slideshow of all the dragons.
Yep. All the wormlings looking really cute.
Oh, I like that. Do it, guys. Use some dragons. So, Tim.
Thank you so much for listening. You can find us obviously on our website. You can subscribe to us on whatever platform you are listening to us. We appreciate that. That lets us know that you're out there. You can send us any homebrew that you have that you would like to present to us and let us do our thing with, and that we can showcase, because our last 2 shows were hugely successful. We loved those, and we even published things on the DMs Guild, which have quite a few downloads, if I dare say so myself.
And a few downloads.
Yeah, a download or 2. Yes.
Fancy, man.
The fancy. Anyway, yeah, that is a thing that you can do. You can send them to us via creatureclubpodcast@gmail.com, or you can send a link to us on Twitter, where we are most active with most of our fans.
Yep.
We are at Creature Club Pod. That is at a Creature Club Pod, or you can just search Creature Club Podcast in the Twitter search bar, and we're usually the first one. You can see our little D20 with a lovely hat on.
And we also got a handy-dandy contact form on the website, creatureclubpodcast.com.
Indeed, we have. Is that it?
That's it, yeah. Subscribe to, subscribe if you want, but follow Timothy's Music on Twitch and follow Mike Talime on Twitch, because we're both bored and we're trying to do something during the COVID.
Kill the time.
Kill the time. So both me and Tim are streaming. Tim is playing music, I am playing Zelda. The two things that we both love the most in the world. Follow us on Twitch. And follow us on Twitter, and you'll find us all there, I guess.
And leave us a review on iTunes or Stitcher. Actually, I found does actually have reviews. So if you listen to us on Stitcher, if you're one of our couple of dozen listeners on Stitcher, you can leave us a review. And once all three of us are together at the end of an episode, because we have done it at the start, we will read out a review.
Yeah.
So if you do so, we'll give you a shout out.
And the last call to action, the last one.
Do it.
Have a great day. Just love yourself, all right?
Yeah.
Really, just try to love yourself and do that.
Wash your fucking hands.
And wash your fucking hands, for God's sake. And stay inside, guys, please. There's a pandemic going on right now.
What are you doing here? Go home.
Go home. You probably are home listening to this while, I don't know, painting miniatures, I'm going to guess.
Oh, yeah. Nice. Classic.
If you're painting miniatures, send us pictures of the miniatures you're painting right now while listening to Creature Club. So
yeah, that'd be cool. That'd
be great.
I like that.
Yeah. Great. Well, that's all. So, guys, thank you so much for listening. Next week, we're going to continue on with the Dragon Saga. I have been Mikey.
I have been Tim.
Stay cool.
You did it.
Stay cool.
Stay cool. Stay frosty.
And then I walk off, or I ride into the sunset.
Particularly appropriate because White Dragon is Icy Boy.
Nice one.